So everybody get a pencil, but we may need to sharpen a couple of these.
This one needs sharpening.
Oh, that's a good one.
This one needs sharpening.
Yeah.
This one.
And here are some erasers, but we probably won't need to erase. We are gonna do this kind of cartoonish, but not what I mean by that. A lot of cartoon work is, so, all right, y'all ready? So look, if I was drawing a face, you know, I may not even start with line, right? I may actually, you know, just start drawing shadows and stuff like that, right? And people who draw like that, you know, sketchy, like, and if I kept going, you know, I'd have a face, you know. I don't know if y'all can see what I was drawing, but yeah, you can see if I just kept going, I'd draw a face. Yeah, it is. But what I'm showing you, Natalie and Caroline, is that to draw a person realistically, what we don't want to do is just draw it in pieces like cartoons, right? You know, doing that anime looking stuff with it. They got kind of pointy hair and stuff. But like this is cartoon, just using line, right, to do our drawing. So this is about there was this other famous ship. So we're drawing the ocean, you know, they were sailing over, but we're also gonna see underwater. So some of this is just thinking about ways to draw fish. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw the sea floor first. So it's just, look, I'm just drawing a little line. I don't wanna get too crazy, but I don't, you know, maybe, you know, the sand comes up. This is the sea floor, right? This is where, you know, little seashells would be. Look, an easy way to draw seashells, just kind of do a couple little spirals or something, and then maybe make one side over there, or little triangles, like almost like I'm drawing a trumpet shape, like I'm drawing a trumpet or like a bell shape. And then just on the end, you just kind of do the little zigzaggy line. Just some little seashells. So, okay, now, back, just more art stuff. Look, I don't know how to draw seaweed, right? Do you know how to draw seaweed?
I kind of wave, it's like a wavy, like square.
Or look, same stuff we've learned in kindergarten. I'm just gonna take a triangle and break the rules. Look, I'm just gonna do, you know, just these tall, you know, and I can really make them be twisty because, you know, the water's moving and stuff. Ooh, that's a nice one. Now, remember, when drawing these kind of triangles, come to a hard stop. Look, come up, you stop, and just go the other direction. That's how we get that really nice pointed triangle at the top. So, look, here's a little batch of seaweed, and I don't want to do it right at the top. I want to come down, and then, but I'm just going to do these super skinny, bendy, twisty triangles. You know, I just think about, well, what kind of shape would a long, you know, piece of seaweed, kelp or something like that, what would it be? It's just a triangle, but you know, in art, we kind of break some of those geometry rules, but it's still just a triangle. All right. Now, watch this. I'm gonna do another little thing of seaweed, and I'm just gonna start with a straight line.
Kind of wavy though.
Yeah, it's kind of a wavy. Yeah, well, just a single line, but yeah, make it kind of wavy. All right, then look, right on top of this, I'm going to do like a letter U.
upside down?
But and it covers the top, and it just kind of, you can see and then I'm just going to do, look, I started with just like a U shape, a skinny U shape, and that line is right there in the middle. And then for the rest, I'm gonna make it like a fun roller coaster. Look, I'm just gonna, these are crazy roller coaster hills, just coming down one side, but then look, I'm gonna come down the other side with this crazy up and down roller coaster line. And so look, if I do about, 4, 5, or 6 of these kind of things, and I make them kind of different. Some of them are kind of fat. Some of them, my little roller coaster lines may be, imagine this is and then a tree, or there's a bunch of these right here, so I'm just going to do another line coming out somewhere, make it either longer or shorter for variety, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I start with that little upside down skinny little U, and then I just come down the side with some roller coaster lines. And I like doing on the sea floor little ovals sometimes. Could be like a little rock.
Or clam.
Or a little clam. All right. And it doesn't need a whole lot of information, just some little, and even sand. Look, watch this. We'll do a little stippling. So I'm gonna do a triangle up here. And this is where, for a little shadow, maybe at the bottom of the hill, there's a little, little shadow coming off the side of the hill. And that in the shadow is where I would do the sand texture, right? I don't want to do dots on that whole big area, right? So, but where can we sneak a little bit of sand texture in? And sometimes it would be where the shadows are. So maybe this down here, right at the bottom of some of our seaweed, would be another good little spot to kind of do and this using dots is called stipple, S-T-I-P-P-L-E, stippling. And maybe a little sand. So again, one thing about this lesson, I was thinking about just the simple shapes, or sometimes when I'm doing this, I'm thinking about not just our shapes that we learned in kindergarten, like squares and triangles and rectangles and trapezoids and all those fancy ones, but then also the shapes of the alphabet. I've already talked about a skinny, like upside down letter U. So, all right, so a crab, I'm thinking first, I'm gonna have his, fun way to draw crabs is they have the pincher things. I'm gonna have those going up. Okay. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is draw a crab, but look, I'm just gonna start with circle, kind of an oval kind of thing. I'll do a big one here, look. So it's just like an oval-y kind of shape. All right, then maybe about right here, I'm actually gonna come up with, and I don't know, I'm just making something up, come up with 2 little skinny rectangles, and then on top of that, put some circles. Maybe that's where his eyes are. And then one way to make it look like crabs, because do like a little dancing pencil line, real zigzaggy, to make it look like maybe there's a couple cracks. And here's a good way to, when making cracks in anything, rocks, the shell of a crab, look, I'm doing this just real zigzaggy, tight little dancing pencil line. But here's what makes something really it's just a little extra something to add to our dancing pencil line. Look, right along here somewhere, I'm gonna put in like a little dark patch, like it gets a little wide right there. You know how sometimes when you look at cracks in the rocks and stuff, there'll be right along that crack, like, yeah, it kind of goes out a little bit. So anytime I'm doing cracks in anything, rocks or an egg shell, you could really, since this is cartoonish, you could probably just come out with, just like just some, and I don't even know how many legs crabs are supposed to have. So just doing a line like that for the leg is really, for this drawing, perfectly fine. If you wanted to make it a little more realistic, you would just you would make it more of a shape.
Or do they have two and then a gigantic?
I don't know,
I bet
but
that's what it is.
this
'cause you
one,
gotta do the claws.
this one is well, I'm about to do the claws. But here are the front ones. Now this one I am going to, so look, I'm going to do a triangle, maybe another little triangle, and put them in there like that. And then this one for the claw is just look, I'm just gonna put a big U shape at the end of the things. And then it's just a letter V, right? Letter V. So I'm just gonna put a big letter V in there like that, to where it kind of reminds me of a fortune cookie.
Ooh, I forgot that.
All right, so what looks nervous? The crab?
The crab looks nervous.
Let me see that.
That's funny.
Can't see it. Can you lift your picture?
Caroline's looks like her crab's like looking up. A snail. Look, sea snails. What I would do, look, just do a spiral. All right, but then when you get to the bottom, so look, watch what I do. I just did a spiral from inside out. And then when you get to the bottom, just bring that line out and then draw like the top of the snail's head like that.
Which is like a cursive R.
Yeah, it is kind of like a cursive R. And then look, if you want to, of course, just coming right off those points, those little things. And then the tail could just be kind of pointy out there.
They have tails.
Nice. All right, so I'm gonna just come off here and come up. Yeah, maybe just a little, and then maybe I could do some sand, maybe some little shadows at some of the turns.
Nice. It looks like he's eating something.
And this could be another place to put some seaweed.
It looks, the crab looks nervous. It's the bones.
Right above him.
Or what is that stuff that Nemo lives in?
Coral.
But isn't it the coral's poisonous or something, right?
It can sting.
Except-
it stings other animals, and they have a special type of skin to protect them.
The clownfish? Yeah, because I think I heard what you're saying, Allison, where the clownfish can go in there, but
Like it's their home.
yeah, but it's protected in there though, because
Nobody can pass.
cool. Remember, for the sand texture, I'm gonna do a little just line here. Maybe not even straight across, but look, I'm gonna just do this little line of sand. And sticking out of this little line of sand is a treasure box. So I'm gonna draw a rectangle. So here's, look, I'm doing some stippling. And coming out of here, about sticking halfway up, is a treasure box, and that's just a rectangle. to make it look 3D. Look, I'm just gonna put a square or a skinny rectangle out there to the side. So I'll just put a little square out there. And then you could, if you wanted to, draw the, well, look, I'm gonna redo this because the snail's in the way. All right. So look, I had a little line of sand kind of at a diagonal. And then sticking about halfway out is a treasure box. We did a rectangle and a squarish or a smaller rectangle. Now, the lid, watch. You just draw maybe not straight up, but just kind of a line that comes up, and then you make it a letter D. Just make a letter D. So you just want to, out here on the corner somewhere, just put you a letter D, and that's that.
Oh, like
That's
it's
the
open.
Yeah, it's open, but the top is curved. So you know, like a lot of the old
Like,
boxes with
because it's like that, and then the top's like
the top's curved. So it's, look, it's coming here, and look, right here would be another letter D, right? But this time I don't want to draw the straight part of the letter D. I'm just gonna let it curve in like that.
Yeah.
Here's some gold. Look, how do I do gold or pearls? Look, I'll just do some little circles. Maybe a crown of a king. Put like, I mean, what do we need to say treasure? Maybe the crown.
Can I draw an octopus?
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. But then, you want this to look old. So on your thing, don't draw perfect little pieces of wood or something. And don't forget to put the little keyhole. And, just make it. All right. So now let's go ahead and start doing some fishes. Do y'all know the Jesus fish, or Christian fish symbol? So one way to draw a fish is look with this frowny face line.
Yes.
And a smiley face line. Those are perfect for underwater. Yeah, but here's the thing. These are fish that we should draw them small and dark. So we're going to do a school of fish, but we don't see their color. They're just these little shapes there. So let's see, where would some faraway fish be? So look, so if I just do a few of these little Jesus fish, but I want to make them dark, so I'm gonna color them in. So, and look, I could do some real small ones too, look, almost dots. But then I'm gonna go ahead and close up the tail too.
Like this. Like that. Like this.
Yeah, but look, Natalie, you can do this any way you want, you imagine. But I like making my little fish shapes kind of, just dark. And then look, as this little school of fish gets farther away, look, Caroline, look, really, you could just do little dots with it to make it look like a school of fish. That's an art principle called unity. Unity is created by just putting stuff close together. So look, I put these dots on my paper, and it really is nothing but a mark, a dot. But because they're all close together, what does it say? A school of fish. So that's an art principle called unity. A lot of art principles, a good way to think about art principles, it is based on things people do, human behavior. What shapes do we need? We need ovals. We could do simple triangles. We could do squares. We can do circles. We can do, skinny rectangles. All kinds of stuff, A good way to draw a sunfish is with kind of an oval. And, like, let's see. Well, yeah, we're gonna draw specific kinds of fish. And then sometimes we're going to
Like
pick,
a tagglefish?
we're gonna pick certain shapes and change the shapes even for fast swimming fish.
Ooh.
Slow swimming fish. Like and basically though, we're still just using the same shapes we all know. All right, so let's just do a normal fish. It's an oval, but it's more like, I'm gonna start off like just drawing a regular eye.
How big on our picture should we do?
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna, notice we're working our way up. So I'm just coming up a little bit,
Jellyfish.
and I'm just gonna draw, nothing huge, but I'm gonna start with a fish. But it's a pointy oval. Then I wanna do the tail as a triangle. But I'm gonna have fun and be artsy, be creative. I'm just drawing a triangle, but look, I'm gonna make my triangle kind of wavy. And just like a big, cool tail. And then I could do, look, a little bit of hatching lines just for some little texture or detail. The eye of the fish, that's simple. That's just a circle. And if I want to give it a little detail, I could put a black circle inside there. No, hatching lines are just closely spaced parallel lines. And it's good for patterning and texturing. Kind of like we don't want to do a whole lot of texture with this kind of drawing. Remember, we said it's kind of cartoonish, just line drawing. So speaking of line, I could use just maybe a few hatching lines for gills. 1, 2, I may just do 2 little hatch lines for gills. Then the fins up top can be anything you imagine. Look, I'm gonna do a square. Why not? It's just a square. Maybe you can do any shape you imagine for that fin. Yeah, a square. It looks normal. All right. But then on the bottom, I made mine all with squares. And usually I do one big fin and then a smaller one right behind it. And then if you wanted to decorate it, I'm just gonna put some little dots on there. This kind of fish right here would be a slow swimmer, right? That'd be a slow swimmer. So let's go ahead and do maybe another slow one. So this time I'm gonna think about which way do I want my fish swimming. It could be going up, down, left, right. So since this one is already going, this way to the right, I may have this one coming maybe down and to the left. But by making it more of a slow swimming fish, I'm just doing, it's just like a thicker. And you could imagine how could we change this shape when we want to start drawing really fast swimming fish? Like a torpedo, right? Actually, I think some fish like the marlins and even the tuna, a tuna is up there.
With super fast?
Yeah, like real tuna is like as big as this table. They're huge. And they're super fast. But yeah, their bodies are like torpedoes. So we're just making up fish and using these just shapes that we all know, one way to change is, look, this kind of thicker, more rounded, pointy oval would be a slower fish. But then to do your fast ones, then yeah, you want to make them skinny, like Allison said. So this one, I'm gonna make the tail just kind of, and maybe this one is starting this one's kind of a medium speed fish. Maybe the fins, the skinnier, pointier fins. Even though this isn't a real fast swimmer, it and you can just make, and one thing I like doing too, which we've done, just take your space, take your area. To make it more interesting, you divide it up. So look, I'm going to divide this fish up into just a few sections. And just random sections, and then maybe in this one I'm gonna do stripes. Maybe in this one I may do some more stripes, but I may just change directions over here. And Miss Melissa's really good at doing fish scales. And then, look, a heart. But on this heart, look, you wanna make it kinda skinny. So look, if I wanna do some little fish lips, it's just like a little heart right there. It's just like a little, doing the Instagram kissy lips on the fish. All right, now bubbles are always fun. Just a few little circles coming up. And it doesn't have to be a lot. And then just put like one single little hatching line in there. Yeah, it'd be a long trip. All right, let's do. Y'all want to do a shark?
Yeah.
All right, now look, a shark. First of all, most sharks are fast swimmers. They are by no means the fastest in the sea. They are slow compared to a lot of fish, but they are fast swimmers. All right, so look, we're gonna start off just our same shape, but like Allison told us, look, make it skinnier. This is a fast swimmer, so we want the body to be like a torpedo.
And this would be above the bigger fish because he's hunting.
If you want to have the mouth open, you're basically doing this shape, but choose one end. Look, choose one end.
This is what I do for sharks.
Oh, that's nice. Look, do one end, leave it open. Don't close this end, and then you just take a triangle and come in. And of course, that's where you would put the teeth, the scary teeth. And then for a shark's eye, you don't want any white showing. It's just black. That's one thing why, they can eat things, but that's one thing. Another reason why sharks are so scary, because their eyes are just black.
They have the weird spots.
Yeah.
They have they're just like the back of their
Mine's
head
grandpa's
behind their eye.
shark. He's lost all his teeth.
Now look, here's how you can tell if it's a shark and not a dolphin.
Are you a dog shark?
Sharks are the only fish that where their fins do this. Look, they're curved like all fins, but then at the back, it's straight. So like a dolphin's fin seems similar to a shark's, but it's curved it's still curved on the back. Shark.
The opposite.
Wait, what?
No, sharks are straighter. All right, then usually they have the other fin.
No, they
That's
have.
so many.
Some of them have 3 pairs of teeth, and some have 2 pairs of teeth. Yeah.
Our daughter had shark teeth because she grew her front teeth without losing her baby front teeth. So she had her baby teeth here and the front teeth up here, and they call those shark teeth because you had an extra line of teeth.
All right, so another thing to make it look like sharks, the way they are colored is perfect for eating things. Because if the shark is underneath you, you don't see it because the top of the shark is dark. If the shark is swimming above you, you still have a hard time seeing it because the bottom is white. So usually to make it look, sometimes you can just draw a line down the bottom of it. So if it's swimming below you, it's dark up top, so it's hard to see. And then if it's above you, it's still hard to see because the belly is real light. Seems like if it's gonna be something that could eat you, it should be pink or something. Oh, we forgot something too. So look, right off the head, up here, you start with a little line that comes up, and then you put a little rectangle here, and then you put a little line and maybe a little spiral line for the laser beam. What? Yeah, sharks. Yeah, some sharks have laser beams. Yeah. All right. And then look, if you want to get into like swordfish, I mean, it's just, I would just do it like a shark, but maybe make it even more like a torpedo. And then I guess it would have a long sword. And I think fish they have these really skinny bodies, but they have big, powerful fins though, and big, powerful tails. All right, so let's go ahead and draw the top of the water. And then we're gonna draw so this is the ocean, then we're gonna draw the Santa Clara, the one Pilgrim ship that they knew set sail, but it never made it over here. These ships, they were big, but they're these Spanish type ships, and it's like a big kind of curve there.
The Kraken can get the ship.
And then usually the underwater, the part of the boat that's underwater, I don't even do much to it. I just make it kind of gray or something. Or that could even be like the reflection in the water. All right, so now up front, you put, look, it's almost like an upside down hat or something. You put like the little pieces coming out like that. And then you bring your rectangle out, and then you bring your lines in, and it comes down a little bit. And then you can come just straight across like that to make them join. Look, you could do a few porthole windows, just some circles coming across there.
With the cannons.
And then, look, these ships, of course, were made of wood. So, you could put a big piece of wood maybe right there. But the rest of it, look, in doing little line drawings like this, look, I'm using a couple hatching lines, just kind of randomly spaced. And look, if you want to make it look like wood pieces, just every now and then maybe drop in a little vertical hatching line.
Bam, bam, bam.
The windows would probably be dark. Just for the captain's quarters, you just look. They would have a little thing here, and there'd even be a door, maybe another porthole window. And then to make this look 3D, look, I'm just gonna put a skinny rectangle over here by the side. And then this is where up top you put like a little.
I don't have enough room for that.
That's okay, that's okay. You put like a little, protective, little, like a little decorative fence up there to keep you from falling off. And this is where now look, we want it to look like a circle, but we're not looking right at it. So to make it look like the big ship steering wheel thing, what do they call that?
Take the helm.
Oh, well, whatever. So, but we want to draw an oval. So, and it's kind of hard to see, but like up in here by your fence, look, if you put your little,
Submarine.
so you want to draw it like this, you know, where it's, you know, those ship wheel things,
Oh, okay, but
you know, and then just kind of put it in there. And I'd probably do the door dart, maybe a couple more pieces of wood. I think there are at least 3 masts, like 3 of the big poles coming up with the sails on it. It may have been more, but let's just do 3. So let's do the one in the middle first. So,
submarine.
okay, so just start with a pole, a mast, a real skinny pole going straight up. All right, now, so to do the eagle's nest, you're talking about that basket up top there. So you want to draw a cylinder. So look, to draw a cylinder, look, the bottom is curved, the top is curved. You know, to make it look like, so look, way up here, I'm just putting a cylinder right up top, like that. And then you want it, look, you want it to go up, you want the pole to go up a little bit more. So look, I have a pole, right? And then there's the, you know, the eagle's nest thing up there. So watch. We want to try to, if we can, get at least 2 sails here. It's just a square or a rectangle. So basically, we need a squarish kind of shape, but we want it at an angle. So look. Parallelogram. Okay, but now this doesn't, we're missing something here. We're missing the wind, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm still drawing this parallelogram, but I want to make it curved like that. So now watch where I do this. Look, I'm just going to come right up top, and it doesn't have to be huge. Do that parallelogram and then make the sides curved like that. Now, I could use an eraser and draw out the part of the pole that I don't need anymore. And these don't all have, maybe this one, I'm gonna do this one like I'm gonna do just one more here, but I'm gonna make it kind of fat, bigger than that top one. Then the one up here, these ships, the mast, only the center mast with the eagle's nest stayed straight. You can leave yours just like that, Allison, but a lot of times what they did is this front mast, it actually comes in at a little bit of an angle. And then they had more sails. Like there'd be a little one up top, and then maybe another little one, and then maybe a little bit bigger one toward the bottom, like that. And then there would be even another one coming off back here. Somewhere, I don't know, but maybe even, you know, even smaller sails. Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like we're listening to Pilgrim music, doesn't it?
Is this Christmas?
I don't know. Have y'all started listening to Christmas music already?
Yeah. Oh, no.
So then, if we wanted to do the sky, look, you know, you could always put a couple little clouds up there if you wanted to.
we're moving upstairs. Aaron's gonna be upstairs on Saturday. Who's upstairs? We're moving upstairs. Oh. Aaron's gonna be upstairs. Oh, I wanna draw a whale.
But remember, look, to draw a whale. Hold on, Caroline.
You're special.
Okay, so we've only drawn fish. A whale is a mammal, right? It breathes air. Well, one way to tell dolphins, orca, whales, you can always tell it's a mammal because the tail is flat. Like manatee. So look, a shark's tail is like this, right?
But a whale's tail
Is flat. So look, see how, so what I usually do first to draw well so it looks like it has the right kind of tail, like I'll draw another, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the tail first, and I messed it up.
I'll be back.
One way to make, like if you're doing a dolphin or a killer whale, orca, or a
Bathroom.
well,
First or-
it's just a normal
Taller to
tail,
be the-
but the top has to be shorter than the bottom. See how much longer I did the bottom? And what that does, it makes it look flat. So then I just come in here and I still do the little middle of the tail here, but it's longer here. So look, so then when I start just coming in to draw the whale, you know, it makes it look flat. You see? By making this one short, that side shorter. Because we're saying it's shorter because it's farther away. Because that makes sense? Ooh, I gave him a overbite or an underbite. That whale needs to go to the orthodontist.
Or it's maybe an orca and it has to go to the orthodontist.
No, this is
That's funny.
orthodontist. That's a good one. All right, then we have to do the pennant flags. So obviously the wind, and this is where we want to do our flags often opposite the way our ship seems to be sailing. So if you do a flag, we want to do it going to the left, but it should go, the wind is blowing the ship to the right. So a pennant flag or just, one of those skinny, but make sure the wind is blowing in the right direction. It should be, the flag should be going in the direction the boat is sailing. All right, if you draw an upside down C, and it doesn't have to be straight, I kind of have it angled. And then on the bottom, you do like a little dancing kind of bumpy line.
Where should I draw it?
Just wherever. And then look, then the first thing you want to do is just some long, super skinny triangles. And then you can just do some straight lines coming down.
4, 5.
And then on a couple of your straight lines, you want to kind of do what I did. Look, so just do kind of a bumpy line down, just not many, but just 1 or 2, maybe 3 of those. And that's a good way to draw a man of war, which is supposedly very poisonous jellyfish, isn't it? Let's have fun. Let's draw a big kraken. So look, basically we're just going to, we're going to draw that's a good kraken. All right, so look, under the boat. So it's eventually the arms will be grabbing the boat, right? But let's start with the head. And basically this is kind of like how to draw a squid. So look, I'm going to do 2 little lines like that, and it's just going to come down. And this time I don't want to do a hard stop.
Is this enough space right in here?
So then look, then it just comes up like that. And this is, you could do a couple hatching lines there for detail.
2 vertical lines.
Yeah. And then from right here, it's just like drawing some of our seaweed. I'm gonna go ahead and come off and have one big arm. Look, and I may even shade it in a little dark already so I can see what's going on. But I got this one dark, inky Kraken arm coming on. Then look, on this side, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start with another arm coming off, but this one's gonna go under the boat. So I'm gonna stop when I get to the bottom of the boat. But nice. All right.
Oh, because it's going behind it.
Then the eyes are about right here, maybe on top of the head. And then I'm just gonna keep having the, how many arms would, Natalie? How many arms?